Hello everyone, my name is Charlotte Peake and thank you for joining me for my critical analysis for assessment task 1. The issue I've decided to discuss today is students with English as an additional language or dialect with diverse literacy learning needs. Students with English as an additional language or dialect are learners whose first language is a language or dialect other than English, and who require additional support to assist them in developing proficiency in English. English as an additional language students come from diverse multilingual backgrounds and may include overseas and Australian-born students whose first language is a language other than English, including our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders students whose first language is an Indigenous language. English as an additional language learners are simultaneously learning a new language and learning knowledge, understanding and skills of the curriculum through this new language. They have the same capacity to learn and understand the curriculum as other students. However, they require support with the English language and cultural understandings required to access the curriculum and to demonstrate their achievements. Australia has significant numbers of established and more recently arrived immigrants within its student population. Consistent estimates are that around 20 to 25% of students attending schools are from backgrounds where English is an additional language. With the increasing amount of English as an additional language students, ensuring that these students have the same access as all other Australian students to multimodal literacies will help meet their literacy learning needs. Assumptions of English as an additional language or dialect students. In Australia, the education of EAL students has frequently been seen as a minority issue, as the responsibility of these EAL teachers. However, the significant number of EAL students in schools suggests that a majority of teachers at some point in their careers will work with students with EAL. EAL students may have good academic language skills, but struggle with the social registers of English. Another assumption of EAL students includes children who speak English as an additional language when learning to write. These children generally have a different developmental path for learning to write. English as an additional language students have learning needs that require high levels of support socially, emotionally, and culturally, as their social and cultural expectations may vary greatly. This can include being unfamiliar with accepted classroom routines and the organisational aspects of learning, such as deadlines, dates, and divisions of time. My personal response to this issue includes that I believe that the benefit of multimodality has in the classroom when teaching literacy and language has allowed many students to excel in their literacy studies, which is why it is important that students with English as an additional language have the same opportunities as every student learning in the classroom. Having these multimodal tools in the classroom where they can be used as a mediating tool for their learning, for the teacher to teacher and for the students to present their learning. Currently, there are many resources that support English as an additional language and students and multimodal literacy in the classroom. This is including the Australian curriculum, which breaks down English as an additional language challenges that these students may come across in their learning, with supporting strategies for these challenges that may occur. It is important that English as an additional language students are offered the same opportunities as every other student when teaching the curriculum. This may include providing all students with scaffolding and differentiation that support them to meet their learning goals. English as an additional language students have the same capacity to understand curriculum content as other students. However, They require support to learn the English language needed to access curriculum content and demonstrate their understanding. Here I've shown some graphs that represent teaching and learning cycles and differentiated teaching for English as an additional learners. To support English as an additional language learners, teachers need to identify the language demands of learning tasks while still maintaining the integrity of the curriculum content. Next to this second graph is the curriculum content context. This shows the learner as the center of different strategies that can be used. The notion of multimodal literacies is so central to multimodality. In essence, the multimodality in its widest sense embraces a range of semiotic modes, including images, gesture, oral performance, artistic, linguistic, digital, electronic, graphic, and artifact-related argues that no text can exist in a single mode, and that most texts use at least two modes of communication, language and image. Thus, texts have to be examined thoroughly through a multimodal lens. In addition, different levels of change and practices have emerged, especially with the introduction of digital and electronic media. Reading and writing, for instance, now requires practices such as using hyperlinks and inclusion of semiotics in email and chat rooms, and the capacity to interpret the different elements of websites, such as icons and menus. Technological literacies have therefore changed what it means to learn and to know and to do things. Learners draw on or need to learn to access not only the linguistic mode, but all the other semiotic modes as well. Implications and consequences. The implication of the Australian curriculum encourages an explicit focus on English as an additional language and dialect students in mainstream classrooms. Detailed explanations of what an additional English as an additional language student might find difficult at every stage from foundation to year 10 in the fields of mathematics, science, history and English now appear on the ACARA website as a specialised content-specific resources. Explanations are both linguistic and cultural in nature, and teaching strategies are provided. Also, in the English curriculum, priority is given to learning English as a system or knowing about the English language. Legislative requirements. The implication of the Melbourne Declaration on Educational Goals for Young Australians. The Melbourne Declaration has two overreaching educational goals for young Australians. Goal 1 is Australian schooling promotes equity and excellence. Goal 2 is young Australians become successful learners, confident, creative individuals, and active and informed citizens. Goal 1 further breaks down that the Australian Government, in collaboration with all school sectors, commit to promoting equity and excellence in Australian schooling. This means all Australian governments and all school sectors must provide students with access to high quality schooling that is free from discrimination based on gender, language, sexual orientation, pregnancy, culture, ethnicity, religion, health or disability, socioeconomic background or geographical location. Ensure that the learning outcomes of Indigenous students improve to match those of other students. Ensure that socioeconomic disadvantage ceases to be a significant detriment on educational outcomes. Reduce the effect of other sources of disadvantage, such as disability, homelessness, refugee status, and remoteness. To promote a culture of excellence in all schools by supporting them to provide challenging and stimulating learning experiences and opportunities that enable all students to explore and build on their gifts and talents. And finally, to promote personalised learning that aims to fulfil the diverse capabilities of each young Australian. Thank you for viewing my critical analysis on English as an additional language or dialect. Students with diverse literacy learning needs, including the benefits of multimodal literacy, can have on English as an additional language learners.